Welcome to the Off Tackle with John Fina show on the Overreaction Sports Network. Well, what is going on, everybody? Welcome everybody into the Sahlen's Off Tackle with John Fina show here on the Overreaction Sports Network, presented by FanDuel. My name is Joe Miller, and you can find me on Twitter at Joe Miller, wired alongside my co-host, the guy that this show is named after, a longtime Buffalo Bill franchise left tackle, John Fina himself. And you can find John on Twitter at John Fina. So good to have every single one of you guys joining us right now, both live and in podcast form, whatever platform rather you are consuming this presentation on. Please hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. Help us to get our numbers up. If you can leave a rating or a review, that always helps as well. Tell a friend, all that good stuff. But we are 4 or 5 days post the Buffaloes getting throttled by the Houston Texans, who are not a very good football team. Even as I was in the crowd in Houston, John, the fans are telling me how bad of a football team they are and how bad our defense must be because their offense was actually moving the football. And then the Buffalo Bills, it's reported, have potentially signed Shaq Lawson to the practice squad. So congratulations. Help is on the way.
That's it? You're queuing me up with that?
I have made jokes. I did a show.
I saw your jokes.
No. Going backwards. I did the show by myself, the one Sunday overreaction show where I said the Bills in trouble, and I referenced heavily about the Brandon Bean Rolodex, that unless somebody's name is in the Rolodex, he won't go after Christian Wilkins. He won't go after Yannick Ngakoue. He won't go after these guys that aren't in the Buffalo Bills. I've played here 3 other times, and you've cut me 3 times Rolodex. And it just is it's bizarre. It's absolutely 100% bizarre. It's not even going back to the well. It's going back to the has-been.
Yeah.
And I don't mean just him. I like Shaq Lawson. This isn't about Shaq Lawson. It's just about, like, how many of them do you go back for once you've cut them 3 times? I think there's a little bit of I'm in love with my system thing, and it's so special that the only people I can bring back are the people that know it already, which I is kind of silly. I mean, is it though? Because I don't lose your train of
no,
thought.
I'm agreeing with you,
because they bring in Poona Ford, can't get him on the active roster, then goes to another team and is a dominant defensive tackle again in the NFL. They bring in Tibbs Settle Jr., can't get him on the active roster. Then he goes to the Houston Texans, by the way, who was one of the ones celebrating with an honorary chicken wing after beating the Buffalo Bills, and has had 2 good years in Texas with the Texans as far as that goes. So there's probably something to be said for, as ridiculous as it is, just rush 4 and drop everybody else into zone coverage. There's something special about this defense that some guys just don't get.
Sorry. Yeah. Okay. I see where you're going with that, and it is definitely a system. I am a little annoyed with some of the, maybe it's perceived, maybe it's real, like, this defense isn't for me. Like, I'm different. I'm special. Look, you can play in a system, right?
Right.
So Settle and Ford really disappointed me. And look, they went elsewhere. I don't know what the circumstances are. They're finding success now. Good for them.
Again, finding success again. They were successful before. They're finding success again. But yes,
agreed. You're not going to get Sean McDermott and his defensive coordinator change the defense based on 1 or 2 signings. I get that.
Nor should they.
No, you're right. But there is a sense of buy-in that you have to have, and fidelity and effort toward the team that signed you. And I don't think that there's a glaring difference so much in systems that a guy like shows up in Buffalo and then he sees the system. He's like, well, this is for me. I'm just going to suck. Right. I think you got to, I don't think we got the effort out of those two guys, frankly. I mean, you watched the film when they were in Buffalo, and where was the effort? I thought it was minimal at best. What makes those guys better are the edge rushers. What makes Settle better are Anderson and Hunter.
Gotcha.
And there's no question about it. I don't like it either. I think you bring in a guy that's already been in your system. Are you saying I can bring you in because you're already kind of, agreeable to it? Or are you saying that anybody who's not familiar with the system, we're so grandiose and there's so much here that you can't learn it? Because if that's the case, that's pretty insulting. I think guys can learn. I think guys can pick up a system pretty quickly.
Well, Joey Bosa has fit. I forget who the pass rusher was. It's escaping me. That ended up going to the 49ers. He fit, right? He had 10 sacks. I mean, there are some
little.
No, not little.
No,
it's right on the tip of my tongue.
Oh my God. Yeah. He had like 7 sacks when he was with us.
No, it was 10. It was 10.
Resign this guy.
Yeah, and they didn't. I think from a fan perspective, we know enough to understand the differences between a 3-4 and a 4-3, and we learned from having a wide 9-4-3 defense that was unbelievably dominating when Jim Schwartz was here, and then Rex Ryan came in and was like, "We're going to play my defense," and he moved it to a 3-4 defense, and there was a whole bunch of people that thought, "Oh, this will work," and it did not work. It was an utter catastrophe trying to move those 4-3 guys into a 3-4 defense. I feel like we know enough to understand that part of it. But when you're talking about 4-3 guys into a 4-3 system, 1 tech, 3 tech, outside dudes, edge rushers, it feels like it should just fit. It feels like it should be. And these guys are Puda Ford, Tim Settle. Some of these guys are coming here on sweetheart deals because they want to play for the Bills. They want to play with Josh Allen. They want an opportunity to win a Super Bowl. And then maybe it is effort. Maybe it is that when Puna was here and Tim Settle was here, that there wasn't much. We weren't getting much from the Floyd, Bill 9267 or Bill 29267 says Floyd. It was Floyd. Yep.
Yeah, I was thinking Leonard Little. I was thinking Leonard, but I didn't get Floyd. I got Little.
Yeah, Leonard Floyd. So help me understand. Is it a complimentary thing as much as Bills Mafia hates that word right now too? That like in order for the defensive tackles to effectively be somewhat successful, they've got to in a rush 4 only situation, they've got to have the work from the edges. Like would Puna have been better now? Would Tim have been better now with Bosa on the outside versus what they had when they were here, and they just couldn't even get on the football field?
Oh, well, we're arguing a point here.
I'm asking questions. I'm not arguing. I'm sorry.
No. Well, not argue in a combative kind of way, but discussion. So we're arguing a point here where the Buffalo Bills defense, although gave up long drives, only gave up 23 points. And you have the MVP on the other sideline. And supposedly what you want to have, and which I don't think we have right now, is an offensive coordinator that plays to the strengths of the people that he has.
He does not.
So we're talking a lot about defense because we signed Shaq Lawson. That's sort of immaterial to me in discussion of the previous game. Okay. Right. You hold a team to 23, you have Josh Allen, you should be able to score 24 points. And that to me is the bigger topic at hand right now. Now, look, Shaq Lawson, fine. If he comes in and has an impact, that's great. I think that our linebacker now, Shaq Thompson right now, him fully healthy alongside of Milano, Bernard, Dorian Williams, I think our linebacker core is looking a little bit better. I think with the play in the secondary, I think mildly suggesting that it's improving, mostly because of Cole Bishop and Max Harrison coming along. I think we're in a position where the problem or the solution, if you will, is that Brady and Josh and whomever else belongs in the conversation understands the type of personnel that we have and we play to those strengths. Whereas right now, I think we're playing a game that doesn't fit the personnel that we have.
I don't know how many 2-yard drag routes we have to see over and over again and screen passes before. I mean, that's unbelievably accurate as far as that goes. There's just even sitting in the Houston Texans stadium and Energy Field, which is a beautiful venue. The crowd was not a big deal. I think there were some post-game pressers from the team players. Oh, the crowd was loud and they were in it. The crowd isn't that loud in that stadium. It's not even close to ours. You've been there last year. Like it's a little wanky, wonky. I don't even know what the word is. It's a little strange. As I'm sitting there with a buddy of mine who is a Texans fan and where they are, and he said that they're doing everything they can to be not called the Houston Mexicans, and meanwhile they got a mariachi band who were great. The mariachi band was fantastic, which I loved, but like they were like playing into the whole. It was the environment was cool, but they weren't loud, they weren't hostile, it wasn't ridiculous. They were getting loud during field goal attempts, which everybody knows you don't really need to be loud during a field goal attempt because there's no snap count, there's no cadence, there's no nothing like that. You're not going to interrupt anything.
I just have one. I have one question.
Yeah.
Did the mariachi band play Guadalajara? Because that's my all-time favorite mariachi.
They may have. I don't know. It was interesting, but I'm sure that did they not have it when you were there last year? The mariachi band.
Sure they did. I don't know, but if you're talking about mariachi bands, all I can think of is Mexican food, and from Mexican food, I go to Sonoran hot dogs, Joe, and I just think Sonoran hot dogs. That leads me to what? Sahlen's hot dogs,
baby, Sahlen's.
This is the Off Tackle Show, the Sahlen's Off Tackle Show, and I got to tell you, if you want a great hot dog, Tops, Dashes, Wegmans, Market in the Square, Myers, Weiss, BJ's. I can't name them all, Joe. There's Sahlen's hot dogs all around this country, and you can prepare them any way you want. You can prepare them on the grill when it's hot dog season. If we're outside of hot dog season, fry them up in your pan, throw them in a bun, do them. Hey, you know what? Wrap them and bake them and do them Sonoran style. That's a great idea. But regardless, just remember, Sahlen's a 150-year-old Buffalo-based company with high quality, high ingredient hot dogs that are absolutely a staple of Buffalo. And if you're one of the disparate fans and disparate residents of Buffalo and you just want to get that beautiful Sahlen's flavor, you can also order them online at sahlen.com, but check your local grocer first. They're all over the country. Have a great time. Have a Sahlen's, Joe.
And what I love is if you have been displaced. See, I believe that Bills Mafia is the most displaced fan base in the league, to which that was one of the things that Texans fans were overwhelmed by. They were like, why are there so many Bills fans here? And it wasn't even a crazy amount like Seattle last year or a couple other games that we obviously, Miami, it's funny. But if you are displaced and you want a Sahlen's, you can have it shipped to you. And then also, if you're wanting chicken wings, John Fina, you can have those shipped to you as well if you don't live in Buffalo.
You absolutely can, but what I would recommend is that you come to Tucson, Arizona, where we have a brand new Anchor Bar franchise. You know what? You come to Tucson, I'll join you at the Anchor Bar at 22nd and Kolb. We're going to have a great time. The Anchor Bar has an enormous variety of foods, hamburgers, pizzas, salads, wraps. Are all high quality, wonderful food in a great environment. There are 64 TVs in the Tucson Anchor Bar alone. There's 16 other franchise locations, Frisco, Texas, and Raleigh, North Carolina, which is right down the street from where I'm sitting right now, is opening soon. Anchor Bar original buffalo wings are fresh, never frozen, jumbo high quality wings in 24 varieties of sauces and dry rubs to choose from. Thank you, Anchor Bar, for sponsoring the Overreaction Buffalo Sports Network.
The question is, as I look at this picture of this buffalo pizza on the screen right now, and it's got a cup and char pepperoni. I was told that pepperoni only cups and chars in Buffalo. Is that true, or did they get it to cup and char in Tucson?
Listen, I can't even comment on the pizza in Tucson, Arizona. The cup and char pepperoni is a Buffalo thing, and it is a real thing. If you haven't had the cup and char pepperonis, you got to go get some Anchor Bar pizza.
Love it. Love it.
It's
All right,
totally different.
Back on task as far as
Oh
that goes.
no, this was so much more fun than trying to
Way more fun.
dissect the debacle in deep Texas.
I just it's so this team is there's a measure of, for Stranger Things fans out there, that we're living a little bit in the upside down, like the teams that are good in the AFC and the teams that are bad, and what's happening, because the Chiefs, as much as they beat the Colts, they were on the ropes for most of that game. The Ravens were down for a while. The Bills lost. They got throttled. The Eagles lost to the Cowboys. There's just things are just, the NFL is drunk this season is the easiest way to say it. But I think what's strange is, as much as, yes, the defense has bowed up at times and they've made adjustments and gotten better throughout the game and made stops to give the offense an opportunity in games they've lost, of which they've lost horrible games this year to the Falcons, to the Dolphins, and now to the Texans. Ridiculous losses to those three teams. I don't understand, and I know you've got a couple plays for us that you're going to dissect. I haven't watched any Bills media this week at all since I didn't watch anything Friday morning. I stayed away from. I know you were in an airport and you were stuck in an airport bar having to watch it. I've avoided everything. The one thing that I've caught, though, is that McDermott giving a vote of confidence to Joe Brady. Like, I'm pretty sure, I know they can get this thing figured out. And this isn't the first time that they've had these conversations, John. Like, it has been a problem all season of trying to figure out who the hell this offense even is and what they're doing with a generational quarterback. And then you've got the thing that comes out in the Buffalo News, the editorial cartoon of basically dragging Josh Allen through the hourglass with the Bills.
Okay, I find that offensive. I'm going to stop you right there.
All right, go ahead.
Okay, as cute as that was, that's absolutely offensive. I'm sorry. I looked at that.
Would you like to expound upon why you think it's offensive?
Yeah,
I'm just asking the question. I don't have a vote for it or against it.
I think it's a total bullshit cartoon. When you really boil it down, what you're suggesting is everybody else on the team doesn't matter. You're wasting this precious generational talent, and nobody else matters. Nobody else's effort matters. The coaching, like nobody else is grabbing the rope and pulling. I thought about it a little bit. I'm like, you know what? He's not perfect. He makes mistakes, and
a lot of
we
them.
point him out. Right. But then a cartoon like that, oh my God, we're just supposed to feel bad for Josh Allen. What about the 52 other guys that strap it on Sunday? This is not a slam on Josh. This is just, it's feeding into this narrative that everybody is betraying Josh Allen. And I don't think he would agree with it either, but it's cute. It got retweeted. But you know what? I got a middle finger for that little cartoon from the player perspective, where you're out there battling your ass off and you're coming up short. I'm supposed to go in the locker room and like kneel at Josh's feet or any other quarterback or any other player and apologize or some bullshit like that.
I think, you're taking this totally from a player's
perspective. Of course I'm taking it far. Of course I am. As a former player, I just find
it has
nothing.
It has
we're
nothing
just wasting
to do.
him.
It has nothing to do with the players.
I'm not yelling at you.
I know.
I
don't think you are. It has nothing to do with the players. That cartoon has nothing to do with the players and everything to do with management. 100%.
I didn't see the postscript at the bottom that says this is talk to management.
That's the Buffalo Bills. The management of the Buffalo Bills, the ownership and management, and the coaching staff are the ones basically. I'm going to use the word ruining, because that's what they're trying to infer, ruining the prime of Josh Allen's career. It has nothing to do with the other 53 or 52 players on the team and those on the practice squad at all.
Well,
they're not. I think
it's up for interpretation, because I didn't see.
Well, as a player, as a former player, that's how you would take it. As a fan, I don't think it's Cam Lewis's fault at all. I don't think it has anything to do with Shaq Lawson.
I mean, why don't you put all the guys in there? If you're trying to
I'm just saying it has
management, then it's not just one guy. It's 53 guys that suit up on Sunday.
It's 48, but yes, it'd be the other 47 guys suited up. But at the end of the day, the roster is 53, so the other 52 plus the practice squad. I don't think it has anything to do with them. outside of just the mismanagement of this roster, which we've talked about a lot, and Jerry
Okay, well,
Ostrowski is very
let's
much into.
transition to that. I've spent enough time on somebody's who can draw better than I can.
This is a pretty good topic, I think, but apparently it's a little bit of a hot spot for you. But anyways, as far as just this offense, it's befuddling to me where this offense is going, because it doesn't feel like it's going anywhere. And it's like,
Well,
you get a week of six touchdowns where Josh Allen looks like Josh Allen again, and then right back to, well, let's go back to see if we can make that other thing work that we've been trying to do that isn't working. And I'm confused by it.
Well, thanks for the layup on the question, because I know you know the answer to this, but to me, all right, let's go back. All right, everybody agrees, or maybe agrees, that we have a B or a B minus wide receiver room. People talk about separation. People talk about route running, veteran stat, whatever. Okay,
right.
So why on earth are you going to go down to Houston into the teeth of the most aggressive defense and pretend that 5-man protection with the type of receiver core that we have is going to lead to receptions down the field when you don't have the time to do so?
Right.
So to me, this game was just a disaster from a game planning standpoint.
Right.
It's absolute hubris to think that we're just going to be us and ignore the fact or ignore the statistics of who they are. Like, you have to be prepared for who they are, and you have to make adjustments to your game plan based on the people that you're playing. Okay? As I look at it, we never chip. We rarely have 5-man protection, 6-man protection, or 7-man protection. The only time we get into protections that are more than 6 or 7 guys is when we do a mini roll or a roll or a bootleg.
Right.
Okay. Their two defensive ends have one speed and one direction, and they are damn good at it. And it wasn't a freaking secret before we game planned this game.
Yes.
It wasn't
one of the best defenses in the league, best pass against defense in the league. Yes.
Okay. So you encapsulated the first part of that. So if you're facing that, why would you not design protections that allow your B or C plus wide receiver room to have time to develop their routes, whether it's vertical or through the middle of the field? The two don't add up, right? They don't add up. They don't. And to me, there are some instances as a player and as a fan where I look at a game and I say to myself, the staff did not give the players a chance to win this game.
Right. Brian Bowers in the comment section saying that they ran 90% 5-man protections, which is exactly what you're saying.
Which is what the Buffalo Bills do.
Yep.
However,
it hasn't worked pretty much all year. Like, for the more, it's worked more. It has not worked more than it's worked. Because
we have good receivers, we don't have generational wide receiver one talent, so to speak.
Right.
So why would you not develop a game plan and philosophy that gives you one extra second to provide time for your B or C plus wide receiver room to develop those route combinations to come open? The two, they just don't add up, Joe. I'm going to show you.
Is it, before you get to the play, is the idea that the ball's supposed to come out so fast that they don't need to have anything more than a 5-man protection? Is that what's effectively? Is that the theory, the philosophy?
That's part of the theory, but maybe it's 50% of the theory. Let's say it's 50% of the theory.
Okay.
But if you don't have the talent to get open 50% of the time, which it's hard to run a route, it's hard to get open. The DBs are good in this league too. So now if you cut that in half again, you're basically saying 25% of the time we run 5-man drop against a very aggressive front, we're going to have a guy open.
Right.
I don't
Gotcha.
want a 1 in 4 chance to find an open receiver quickly. Do you?
Negative. What you
Negative.
got for us? So show us some plays.
All right. Well, we talked about the pass game, but I'm going to have to go back to what I honestly didn't even want to do this podcast tonight because I just wanted to forget about this game. Okay.
We got
So
another one coming up as the Buffalo Bills are favored by FanDuel by 4.5 points against the Steelers this week, which I think we talked before the show. You said their defense is very similar to this defense. So
well, then get Reggie Gilliam and get Ray Davis and get Jackson Hawes involved in some of the protection and give those guys a chance to come open. We have the talent if we use it correctly. We just can't use two different talent sets to try to push into this particular type of goal.
It's good.
And that doesn't mean you can't go downfield. You can max protect and have a guy just run a 9 and have a guy run shallow underneath. All right. Now I'm upset. You're making me angry. I'm 2.5.
I'm making you angry. I'm making you angry. I don't mean to. I'm not trying to make
you. Invited me here.
The show's got your name on it, bro.
All right. I invited you here. All right. This is okay. I almost threw up when I saw this play live. This is 4th and 1. It's the first drive of the fourth quarter. We are a downhill running football team, and I'm slow playing this for everybody. Please, everybody in the comments, share this podcast with everybody. Tell them to pull it up. Watch this particular video. We are a downhill running team when Josh is under center. Okay. We like to turn. James Cook is already 3 yards down the line toward the line of scrimmage. He hits it on the run. We do not do deception. We don't fake one way and go the other way. We don't have a lot of counter action. Okay. That's number one. Mm-hmm. Number two, we are playing an extraordinarily aggressive defense with very talented defensive ends, and they crash. These guys are hair on fire. So just as I look at this setup on 4th and 1, I'm going to run zone to the left. That's to the right side of your screen. We need 1 yard. I'm just going to go with the play that gets a yard 90% of the time. But here we go. Here's an offensive coordinator, Joe Brady, in this instance, maybe not all the time, who's just so in love with himself that in 4th and 1, he thinks he's going to fool everybody, including the entire world, and run some counteraction BS into the weak side. Okay. And I'm not even sure if that's Hunter or if it's Anderson, but they're both maniacs. And by this time in the game, they have had so much success coming downhill, hair on fire. So what do? We decide to run a very slow developing play into the teeth of the strongest defenders on this team. I'm going to run it, Joe. I'm very animated right now. I'm sorry.
I like it.
Boom. We try a kick out. This is the thing that really kills this. It's 4th and 1. I'm going to run this back real quick. I want to point something out. Outside the screen, as you're looking at it to the left, we have a slot receiver. It's 4th and 1. We're a running team. This defender on our slot receiver has got a run read. If he reads run, he's going to come and he's going to crash in hopes to catch James Cook running toward Deion Dawkins. But we run into the teeth of it.
Right at
so
him.
They basically bring an extra defender. I'm going to pause it right here. Tight end coming across to kick out the defensive end. Osiris Torrance gets absolutely worked here. They bring that corner off the edge. You can see him showing up right now.
Yep, splashes. Yep.
Okay. We don't have anybody for either of these two defenders. And we're running this action where Josh is almost, it's almost like a reverse out. And James Cook is just standing there waiting on a pause. And they got 3 defenders right there. We're running the ball. It's unforgivable when it's 4th and 1 and you don't run your 1 or 2 best plays to get a single yard, and you think you are going to outsmart the entire world. I'll run it again just for a couple people. We'll run it just in case anybody needs to throw up. I'm going to run it again. We run right into the teeth of the defense. Osiris Torrance gets beat. It's just horrifying. You have any questions for me?
Not great, Bob. I have a lot of questions. I don't have, I mean, there's more questions than answers. Is this the play? Cause I was in the stands where Josh comes off the field and says, "What are we doing?"
Well, there are a few of those, but I think this
there was a specific one where he came off the field and like you could read his lips as he slammed his helmet down and looked at Mr. Trubisky.
I think it was this play, and for two reasons. Okay, three reasons really. We run the ball extremely well to the strong set. We have a tight end. We have Reggie Gilliam. We have a tight end over there. Run zone to the left. Okay, that's number one. Number two, we don't run counter action. This is not something we get a ton of reps at. Okay, why run it in a critical place in the game? Number three, why run this against a defense that has one speed, attack? Makes no sense.
So if Josh Allen, so the comment section is saying that, yes, this was the play where he came off the field. That only tells me, and you played, that Josh at this moment right here that we're looking at on the screen probably knew this play wasn't going to work. So I don't understand why does he not have the ability?
You don't know that. But what should be going through Josh's mind right now is, why in the F are we calling this play? Like,
that's what I was inferring. That's where I was going. That's where I was going with it.
Fair. That's fair.
Yeah. So why? I mean, I don't know. When I think of playing sports, and when I played sports, and I was never the best player on any team I was on. There were guys that were better than me, and there were guys that just had natural abilities to do certain things. And there were times I specifically remember that guys did things that they saw something, did something, and kind of took it in a different direction than what was supposed to necessarily happen, because they knew that whatever was about to happen wasn't going to work. Josh Allen is the leader. He is this franchise. At what point is he calling a timeout? At what point is he taking a naked boot?
That's a great question. And there's a couple of answers to that. Josh has to feel like he owns it, and he has to be able to call timeout, go to the sideline, grab Sean McDermott and say, "This is a bullshit call."
That's the moment he has to be like, "What are we doing? Why are we calling this play?"
But Josh has to be the guy that says, "I own this team." Right. And look, I don't know where that threshold is, and I'm not faulting Josh, right?
Right.
But I'll tell you that, guys get to a certain point in their confidence in their career where they will have that audacity, if you will, or strength of character to say that to the head coach, to call timeout, get on the phone, tell Sean to get Brady on the phone and say, "Bullshit.
Right.
We've got Deion Dawkins and Edwards and Hawes and Reggie Gilliam. We need 1 yard. I'm either sneaking it or you're calling a play that we have run 100 times this year. Not a play that we have never run this year."
Right.
So I don't blame Josh. Everybody's different. But the short story is, if you believe in your people, then you bet on what they're good at and what they do a lot of. I don't know that they're good at this play because I've never seen it. But I know they're good at the other plays where James Cook rips off 3 to 7 to 14 to 21. Right. And that shit ain't it. I'm sorry. This is a family show. Joe, you gotta do some bleeping.
You said shit a lot on this episode.
Well, that's what this was. This was a hell of a lot of that. All right.
Yeah,
I all caps in the comments, and
I agree. I just for me, the way his reaction to Trubisky, again, I didn't see the broadcast. I saw that on Twitter the next morning. to me, if he's coming off the field saying that, then he knew that going into it. And I don't understand where the ownership is on him of being like, this isn't like, we're not doing this. Like, I'm not doing this, whether it's like I said, he takes it and naked boots it, or whatever, or calls a timeout. For me, there's an aspect
there's a lot of risk to owning stuff like that. Okay. So
yeah. But
the
he's
first
not getting
risk,
in trouble.
the first risk is you don't want to own it, right? Because then it's on you. Right now, he can put that. Well, I wouldn't have called that play. The second is you get pushback. Like you don't own this team,
right?
Right. You don't have the audacity to tell me that that's not the right call. And thirdly, is he probably needs a little bit more of that. But what that breaking point is, I can't tell you. I don't know his personality. And Josh is a believer in his people. He wants to believe in Brady. He wants to believe in McDermott. He wants to believe in the other 10 guys on the field. And there's a beauty to that too. You don't want to come off as some audacious prick who's always above everybody else and telling everybody else what to do. But there is a fine line at some point where you want to take control and own it.
Right.
All right.
Next play. What do you got for us?
I'm leaving.
By the way, the people in the comments, specifically Brian Bowers, loves the fire and the tude that you've got for this episode. Yeah.
Well, I mean, look, I can smell hot garbage on fire as well as the next guy. I just have a platform. That's got to go on YouTube right there. All right. Look, this is not an indictment on anybody. I just want people to understand it's very easy. And as an offensive lineman, maybe I'm a little tender-hearted. Happened last night when Duke beat UNC. I still saw some comments about, well, the offensive line didn't block very well. And then I'm tempted to respond and say, be specific. What play? What circumstance of the game was it in? So I know that Deion Dawkins took a lot of heat, and he should have. He did not play very well. I don't think he was set up for success against this defense with 5-man protection. Be that as it may, Spencer Brown also did not do great. But what I want people to see from this clip is you want to put this on Spencer. And it wasn't a great block by him, but there are a lot of other things that are going on. If you're a nerd, if you like to get deep into film, I watched this play like 13 times before I came up with how I wanted to deliver it. And by the way, everybody, watch a ton of film if you got free time. I mean, there's so much happening on just a single play. And this is one of those plays. And Spencer Brown is going to take the brunt of this right here because he doesn't do well on the edge rusher. But a couple of things are happening right here. The slot receiver, who I think is Shakir, in about the middle of your screen at the bottom, he's going to come open. And then when I mean open, I say there's a window where Josh can deliver the ball. Josh, at his fault, is going to drop to about 10 yards, which shortens Spencer Brown's corner. Now, he doesn't have a great block, but the true problem on this, and I'm going to go back to the snap, or actually not the snap, right about here, Torrance gets pushed. He engages his guy at about 4 yards, and then he gets pushed another 3 or 4. And what happens is the pocket is actually deep enough. And Josh, the whole plan is take a step and a half up and deliver this ball over the middle of the field. But because of Torrance getting pushed and then Spencer Brown's guy making the sack, you put this on Spencer Brown. But this is really Torrance, and I'm going to run it a couple times. So let's start by looking at Torrance gets driven about 7-8 yards back. Okay, here's Torrance. Boom, engagement at 4 yards, push back another 4. Now I want you to look at the slot receiver, who is Shakir, and I'm going to pause it right. Boom, Shakir's open right now.
Yeah, he's open.
Now look back to the pocket, and that big white mass you see right there is a little bit of Dawkins and a lot of Torrance. Josh can't step into this throw. But I will argue anybody to tell me that Shakir is not open. So This goes back to what we've talked about in weeks past when Buffalo loses, and even when they win. When I do my film review, I talk about things that they can do better. So they call it a pocket because the front three guys keep everybody at 2 to 3 or 4 yards, and the tackles take everybody to 9 or 10. Now, Spencer loses his block, but his defender is absolutely at 10 yards. But Osiris Torrance gets pushed to about 8. Josh can't step up. He can't see it very well. So he's just going to dump the ball. I think this is incomplete, not necessarily a sack, but it's just these are individual performances that everybody has to do on every play. And we didn't do it. We're 5-man protecting. We're protecting soft, and we're just not getting guys. We're not giving Josh enough time on this particular play for anybody to get. He's already open. We're not giving him a chance to step and throw.
Right. There's other guys. There's other receivers that are breaking open as well. If he has that extra split second, he's got the bottom receiver on the bottom is breaking open, and then the guy on the end line as well that's on the hash is breaking open as well. So
right there. All right. So here's the deal. If you're a center or a guard in this league, you have to look at pass protection as a fight in a phone booth. Now, anybody under the age of, say, 30 doesn't even know what a phone booth is. But the whole point of that is
an outhouse, a fight in an outhouse.
Yeah, right. Jerry would tell you the same thing. If I'm at the line of scrimmage and my guy's a 3 technique or 1 technique, I'm the center, I've got to get long with my hand, get separation, and then refit my hands as I go. Okay, refit. That's where the defender might have their hands inside of me. I got to refit and get my hands inside of them. And then you do kind of like this hopping technique, almost like you're a bunny rabbit going backwards. So you got to hold those guys to about 4 yards. Now, again, do we really need to be in this situation at this point in the game? And this is also deep into the fourth quarter. No, because the philosophy that we brought to this game was that we were just going to do 5-man protection. But here's the issue, Joe. Here's the issue. Once there is blood in the water, who shows up? The Sharks.
Mm-hmm.
This entire game was just put blood in the water. And then at that point, we should have regrouped. We should have done 6 or even 7-man protection and banked on guys like Shakir, who are very shifty, very smooth, to get out to that 7-8 yard curl and dump the ball into the middle of the field.
Yeah, the Buffalo Bills are moving on from this game into Pittsburgh this coming week, which is an offense that even with Mason Rudolph can score points, and they have a very similar defense. As I said earlier, the FanDuel line on this game is the Bills are favored by 4.5. I don't know how every game is not even money, or the Bills are getting points, because the Bills have only beaten the spread twice this year. And it's just I don't know how. I mean, it'll be interesting to see what Dan thinks. As much as Dan has not been taking the spreads as far as that goes, just because he doesn't trust the Bills for good reason. What do you see? I mean, the Steelers defense has to be licking their chops with this Buffalo Bills team coming in. Yeah.
Yeah, but these are these are very solvable problems, right? You got to start looking at who you're facing and devise some protection.
Seems like we've lost John.
Being one of them. So if you go into this game with hubris, and that's what I call been successful, that you're just willing to ignore,
right?
The bear trap that you're walking into, then you're going to see similar circumstances transpire.
Yeah. So if we see a similar offensive game plan, which is strange, because you would think that even with the just going protection with 5 from a team that has made a living and almost transformed a lot of the NFL, a lot of teams are doing that 6th offensive lineman thing that the Bills did for a long time. the Bills have just not been doing it. So Randy Prokes has a question for John. John, a question if not already discussed. Please explain Dawkins being seen dropping his hands, stopping blocking after 2 to 3 seconds. Is that to avoid holding penalties, or am I delusional?
Man, I didn't even want to put your question up, but you directed to me, and it was very nice of you. I don't know what he was doing on that. He was not trying to prevent a holding call. I think he just has a timer in his head that the ball should be gone. But he ought to know better this year more than any other year that, you've got to hold that block another half a second. And I know the exact play you're referring to. It's been all over X. And I looked at that and I was a little bit shocked. I mean, he had the guy even, and then he dropped his hands. But what you got to do is accelerate toward the line of scrimmage and re-engage the guy. So I'm not going to say I wasn't disappointed.
Yeah. Yeah. So I texted you and Jerry this morning, as I remembered. I was at the game, as I said, with a friend who's a Texans fan, kind of a minor NFL fan, Texans fan, more of a college football fan, loves the Longhorns, and is a former high school football coach. And he looked at me at the second quarter and said, "Your left tackle Dawkins isn't very good, is he?" And I was just like, ouch.
Well, he's wrong. He's wrong.
Right. I was like, actually, he's one of the best players on our offensive line. He goes, man, his effort. And then kind of shook his head, and that was the end of the conversation.
I mean, when you're seeing that from the stands, that's pretty shocking. But what I'll say is this: I mean, you got to add some wrinkles and some variety to help guys out. I can tell you that if you, and I'll keep it short because we're long here, and I wanted this to be a 15-minute pod because I just thinking about this game makes me nauseous.
It's been a good show.
When I played, every now and again, Thurman Thomas, Antoine Smith would come by and chip the defensive end without me knowing it, without me knowing they were coming. But the end result of a violent chip on a defensive end is extraordinary because those defensive ends, when they get chipped hard, they don't forget. So rushes after that, they're peaking. They're wondering, am I going to get drilled again? And that changes the way they rush. So why not just give a chip every now and again? Ty Johnson could chip a defensive end. James Cook could chip a defensive end and then float out into the flat as easily as a free release and go into the curl or the flat or the outlet or whatever the hell you want to call it. But help a brother out.
Right. Super good.
That's it.
I will let that's great. John, this has been a great show. Your energy has been great. Your angst has been great. We have felt your passion and your emotion and your love for this football team. It's been great. So thank you for, I know that as a player, you don't probably want to necessarily talk about all this stuff as much as you do. And I know clearly you did not want to talk about that cartoon, which we did not talking about in this show, but I appreciate your candor and I appreciate your willingness to share the innermost parts of John Fina with the fans. So that's why people love you.
Well, Joe, I love and hate you.
This isn't my fault. Ladies, and on that note, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for tuning into the Sahlen's Off Tackle with John Fina show here on the Overreaction Sports Network, presented by FanDuel. Love you guys. Enjoy this week. It's Thanksgiving. We have a lot to be thankful for in this country. We have a lot to be thankful for as Bills Mafia. Appreciate all of you that tune in. I appreciate the sponsors that help us keep the lights on for this thing. But for me, for John, tomorrow night, I don't have a guest yet for On the Beat tomorrow, but working on that still. And then 7 days to Sunday, don't forget to tune into that. And then the obvious normal programming for the weekend will be coming up as well. But ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much. For me, for John, for Jerry, for Anth, for Dan, and for Zig. Appreciate you guys. Love you. Go Bills.
I will always be Go Bills.
Go Bills.